Howdy ho guys, and welcome back to another Bojinjin vlog. Hope you're doing well. I'm doing alright. It's hot today as well. But anyway, so today's entry, I want to give you some motivation, right? So this video, unless I decide to change the title, which is unlikely, is going to be about the thing that you want to hear the most, and today I'm going to tell you that, right? And what this will do, right, what this piece of advice, if you will do, is that it should hopefully kind of smash, although smash is a bit violent, I suppose, but like, I guess so, more like help you surmount whatever it is that's blocking you in life right now, hopefully, right? I'm not in this entry going to give any specific practical advice, right? I have other videos that cater for that, and you know, you have YouTube available to you. So just a bit of a disclaimer, you know, to start off with, but like, what the piece of advice I want to give to you today, what I want to talk about, is more in terms of you recalibrating, course correcting yourself so that you're back on track and you kind of you take yourself out of being lost, right? Because I don't know, I don't know you watching this video. I don't know what your circumstances. I don't know what you're going through specifically. I don't know how I differ from you. However, I can make a few predictions, right? You know, if you're watching this video, then you're probably like me in the sense that you're someone who is just enamored, attracted to consciousness, to awareness, to understanding, to pursuing the greatest good that is possible, really. To understand, to dive deeper into yourself, you know, to really connect with yourself and what speaks to you through inspiration and passion. You want to connect deeply with that, right? You know, aka you're a light worker, basically. You're a light worker, you're a conscious being, you know, you're a sensitive, you're creative, you know, you're a journeyer. You know, you're a voyager. You're an internal voyager. You know, you're a voyager of potential, I suppose, right? There's many ways of saying it, but I think I can make that prediction in terms of the similarities we have, right? And so, like, you're someone who's on a journey, right? You're on a journey to do something inspirational, right? You want to inspire the world, and you want to live a life that is based around inspiration, right? You're not one to sit in an office somewhere, you know, you're not one to take the conservative path in life, because maybe you've tried it, because I have, right? And I found that it just wasn't for me, right? You know, even if I had to go back to that life, right? And there's always a chance, you know, that's the thing, life is unpredictable sometimes. But even if I were to go back to that, I would never give up on my visions, on my passion, you know, on my journey that I started so many years ago, and I'm still going strong now, right? Because I've been there, and I'm sure you have too, right? You know, you've been there where you're feeling lost, you've been defeated, things don't go according to plan, right? Something happens that you don't foresee, and it's quite tragic, right? You know, thankfully I haven't been a victim of some really tragic circumstance. But I've had my share of setbacks, right? And it does knock you down, right? But every single time when I thought that like I didn't know how I could even recollect myself to the point where I could actually get up and continue on my path, right? You know, when like my own self-doubt beats me down in the form of like, maybe I'm not good enough. Maybe I'm just not as talented as the most talented artists or people, right? Maybe I'm just doomed to be a failure, right? Maybe I'm just doomed to be unattractive, right? To be useless, and therefore not worth the time that I've been given on this earth, right? You know, sounds a bit dramatic, and I guess it is melodramatic, right? But like, you know, we've all been there, right? And just when, you know, once again, I'm like, I don't know, I don't see how I can get myself out of this chasm. I somehow find a way through, right? So like, you go through setbacks and you realize that like, you're never going to give up, right, on your dream, right? Because it's so deeply part of you, right, that you can't give up, right? But even when you say that, right, even when you say that, Bo, right, what if you are lost right now? What if you have been beaten down and you don't know how to get up and you're looking for that next thing to help you back up, right? It's easy for me to sit here and say what I just said, which is like, you get knocked down and you get back up and you do it enough times so that you know that it's something you'll keep doing, right? But when you're in that chasm, like, you don't know that for sure, right? You try to look back and be like, you know what, yeah, I've been through this before. There's no I know that I'm someone who will always fight for my dream, right? So like, I should relax, right? It's like, no, no, right? When you're there, right? And you don't know how to move forwards, right? And so this entry, bit of a long intro as usual, should hopefully give you some inspiration or some guidance if you find yourself in that chasm once again, right? And it's just my free piece of advice to you. You can take it if you want. I hope you will, and I hope it will support you, on your journey to find yourself and to connect with inspiration, right? And this is, of course, something that I have in recent kind of months, this year really, like, I've been kind of getting more and more like closer to, right? Really ever since I've been on this journey, right? Like, it's been this process of losing myself and then once again coming back to myself, right? Losing myself. I don't know if I'm talented enough. I'm getting older. My health is not as what it used to be. My energy is not what it used to be. Friends I used to know and all of the things I used to take for granted I don't have anymore because I've kind of isolated myself. Every day is just morphing into the same fucking grind of like staying alive and working towards my dreams and disciplining myself, but also like negotiating with myself and like and letting go when like it's time to let go. And like, I'm not gonna do really intense work at 1 a.m. in the morning, right? Trust me, like, I know that from empirical experimentation, right? Because I've done it like hundreds, if not thousands of times where I've tried to work at like 2 a.m., but it's like, you're never going to work at 2 a.m. unless like something is different. Maybe you're on a deadline. Maybe then you will, right? But it's like, normally you're better off going to sleep, right? And it's just at times like this, you have to like, when things don't go to plan, you have to let go of like that plan, and you have to like reassess what the best course of action is, right? Plans are nice. Plans are great. Like, I used to hate plans because I'm a type B personality, but over the years, in like knowing that I can pursue what I want in life, I've since kind of redeemed, let's say, like planning and organization in my mind like from something that is like a tyrant, like you got to do that stuff because you have to for your job or for your schoolwork, right? But no, it's become something that is like, no, if you organize, it's like a guide, right? It allows you to be more effective at doing what you're trying to do, whilst also like reaping the rewards you want, right? You know, but you know, yeah, but like you do that, but you know, you get lost sometimes, right? You fail, and or rather, you lose yourself, and you try to get back there, and you work at it, you know, like you try to improve yourself, right? You look in towards personal development and self-improvement, right? And you do it, and you do what you do, right? You do a bit of work every day, right? You look online for tutorials on improving your craft. You network, right? You know, or whatever it is you need to do, right? And so around that, you wallow in your own self-pity, I suppose, right? But like, okay. Again, sorry for the long intro. It's just like, it tends to be the case with me, but like, I mean, yeah, if, I'll have like timestamps in the description anyway, so like for those of you who don't know, like, I don't do it on every video, but like, I put timestamps in my description because, you know, I don't really edit these videos, I just kind of riff them. And I put timestamps for like crucial parts in the video. So if I'm ever waffling and you just want me to get to the point, then just click on the timestamp, right? And I hope my liking and you know, and writing doesn't annoy you. Anyway, let's not side tangent, bit of a tangent, but like okay, so you lose yourself, and then you eventually find yourself, right? And you do that over and over again, you know, and weeks and months and years pass, right? And you're still doing it, and it never gets any easier, really. It's like I say, right? Even though you have the reference experience, right? It's always difficult when you face a setback and you have to like reassess and you have to go through the pain of readjustment, you know. But you go through it and you realize something, and this is what I realized, right? And this is what I want to say to you today, right? Is you are on this path, and it's a path of the heart, right? And it's really easy to forget that, right? It's really easy to forget that, right? Because we don't live in a world and a society of the heart, right? We live in a society and a life of the head, right? AKA, we're constantly bombarded, both by media, people in our lives, and ourselves, to do the smart thing. Right? So for example, right, I'll give you an example from my life. I want to be a musician, right? So like, when I'm thinking about what to do, right, like I'm usually like, oh well, I need to practice, you know, I need to look up like the people, the trendsetters, the leaders of my industry. I need to keep exploring and expanding my taste and like trying to learn from like many different types of music, many different producers, you know, in terms of like the technical side of making music, you know. And when it comes to actually, you know, getting my music to people, to consumers, right, to art lovers, then like I need to be relevant, right? You know, I'm like, I need to learn from, you know, the thing that is in vogue right now, right? I need to make music that people like, right? You might be able to relate to this in whatever it is that you're trying to do, right? It's like, whatever it is you're trying to do, there's like a best practice standard collection of things that people tell you, right? And in terms of advice, it's like, well, you need to find out who the industry leaders are and follow them so you can learn from them, right? You need to find other people who are doing what you're doing and grow together, right? You need to get yourself out there, you know, you need to find the places where like people who will consume your art or potentially like your art are going to be, or service or business or whatever it is you're trying to do, right? And you need to make yourself, you know, a part of the community. You need to engage, right? And you need to offer value, and you need to build relationships, basically, right, with people. And it's like, yeah, that's the kind of gist of, you know, what makes sense in terms of what you should do, right? In terms of guidance, right? In terms of direction, right? And that's great, right? Hell yeah. You know, you should master your craft. You should aim to make whatever it is you're trying to do, whether it be a business or, you know, a service or whatever it might be, right? You should aim to make it as good as possible, right? And like, you have to keep updating yourself and updating your skill set and updating your connections and updating like the platforms that you use in terms of marketplaces and like places to get new information, you know, places to follow people, social media, you know, all of this shit, right? You need to stay on top of that, right? However, right, this is where it's a bit, I suppose, controversial. Although it's not really in a bad way, it's just that like, this is the thing, right? This is the thing I realize, right? And this is probably what you want to hear. Because like I said, if I can make a guess, right, you're a light worker, sensitive, creative type like me, right? I did an entry about the artistic archetypes, right, a few entries ago. And in that entry, you know, I listed all the different types of artists, right? And I'm guessing that like whoever's watching my videos is going to be either a sensitive artist or a spiritual artist or a technical artist, right? But like most likely you're going to be like me, which is the fourth type, right? The sensitive, spiritual, lover archetype artist, right? And so like what you're trying to do, whether it be in an actual art form, a traditional art form, like music, for example, or in a business, you know, or whatever it might be, right? You know, you're trying to inspire and heal and bring people into a deeper awareness and a more poignant state of feeling, right? That's what you're trying to do with your thing, right? And we forget that, right? Because like I said, we live in a world that is a world of the head, right? It's not a world of the heart, right? And you're on a journey of the heart, right? So like, this is something that you will forget. I forget it all the time because I start having to focus on, oh, okay, well, now I need to keep improving my skills, and I need to market myself, and I need to connect with people in my industry, and I need to think about, like, you know, my lifestyle currently, and like, you know, I need to save money, and like I need to earn more money, and I need to like set goals to like buy stuff, and you know, and all of this other stuff, right? You know, and like I need to be vigilant against like shit going wrong, right? You know, and I need to foolproof and future-proof things as much as possible. And you get lost in this life of like management, right? You know, and you have to do it, right? That's the thing. However, you are on, as I am, a journey of the heart. Your first commitment on this journey, which you consciously chose, right? And you continue to consciously choose, is a path of the heart, right? Meaning that you need to put what inspires you first, right? And here, disclaimer, right? Okay. Of course, if you're running out of money, right? If you're getting really close to the bottom line, you should probably try to fix that, right? Because, you know, you can't really be focusing on like your heart and what inspires you when you're almost going to run out of money, right? If you're gonna like become bankrupt or some shit, right? Or, you know, if you're in a dire situation, right, which you might be, right? You need to figure that shit out, right? You know, it happens to me, right? Sometimes I dip in money or something unexpected happens and I need to fork out some money, or like something breaks, right? Because shit breaks, right? You never think that shit's gonna break, even if you're careful with it, but shit breaks, right? And if it's something that's like really important to what you do, you have to replace it, right? And so you have to work more and earn more money, or like whatever it might be, right? You know, you need to break out of your routine, your productive routine, and firefight, right? So sometimes you need to firefight, right? And that's just how it is in life, right? But like when you're looking for the next thing to do, either like, you know, you're currently like kind of in a bit of inertia, or like you're looking for the next thing to do in your journey, don't forget that your heart is the most important. Heart-centeredness is the most important thing in this journey, right? So what this means, right, is that you should have a vehicle, right? If you haven't found a vehicle being something that you can set yourself to do, you know, that will allow you to reach people, right? So I guess this would be like career. You know, you need to think of like a career vehicle that you can do, you know, whether that be a business, you know, or some kind of craft, right, that you can pour yourself into, right? And here's an extra thing, right? It's like we live in a world that is so unprecedented, right? Most people don't fucking realize this, right? I'm sure you do, right? But most people don't, right? It's like the internet alone is a game changer, right? It's like most people think, oh, if you want to be like a florist, or like someone who makes bags, or like, what was that weird thing? Like, what's his name? Butter slime, I think it's called. It's like people like make this stuff on Etsy, which is like a craft website marketplace where you can sell your unique thing that you like to make. And like there's the thing called butter slime that's like basically glue and all this other stuff, and like it's like a slime, and people put fragrances in it. You can use it as decoration, or you can get it out and you can play with it like putty, you know. Weird, but someone does that and they make money off of it, right? So it's like, you know, most people, particularly where I live in the UK, it's like people are like, you need to either be put on by someone, or like you need to build like a brick and mortar business where you sell that thing, you know, otherwise it's too unstable. No, right? You know, they'll learn eventually, you know, they'll learn eventually, right? You know, but like the amount of opportunity out there is staggering, right? You know, you can do whatever you want, and you can just stream it over the internet, or you can make videos, or you can put your stuff on something like Etsy, or like eBay, or like what was that Shopify, I think it's called, right? Anything, right? And it just like these things continue to pop up, right? And it's like you should be taking advantage of these, right? So like you need to pick something to do, right? In terms of like either building a business, or offering a service, or some kind of craft, right? And then utilizing new avenues in the form of, you know, internet marketplaces and social media and things of that nature, right? Well, and a hybrid really of strategies, right? Because you can also like do something that's more physical, right? And have both of those strategies running like in tandem, like an internet thing and then like a real life thing, you know. It's, you know, it's out there, like these things, right? But like, yeah, you find a vehicle, but like as you're improving your craft and you're going about life in the way that someone who lives in a head-based society should do, right, to stay alive and to be relevant, right, and to keep improving and to, you know, connect with people in your industry, right, you need to focus on what you're focused on, right? whatever it is you're doing, I'm guessing that you're trying to like do something deeper than the average person, right? So like me, I'm a musician, right? But how many musicians exist in the world? Right? How many musicians exist in the world? Millions, probably. Oh God, I'm one musician out of millions. Right? And it's depressing sometimes, but it's like, obviously, you know, I don't know, it depends on what you're trying to do, right? You know, if you're a pretty talented musician or like whatever it is, right, you know, and you have the supports in your life to do what you do, and you already have a head start because maybe your dad's like a producer, right? And you know, you're connected with like a lot of his friends, and you're in music school, so you can connect with other musicians, right? And you have just had an exposure to like that world. You have an advantage over other people. Great, right? Maybe you can compete, right, in like the standard way of just like making stuff that's really good, right? Make stuff that's really good, right? You know, that's unprecedented. That's like, oh, like this new hack, right? Or, oh, this new genre of music. It's cool. It's never been done before, right? And that's the magician way, right? That I described in my archetype video, right? My artistic archetype video. If you want to be a magician artist, a magician musician, you can do that if that's what you want, and if your circumstances align you with that. But for example, me, right? I did not have musician parents, right? They got me into music really early, and like that's a huge advantage I have. So like, you know, it's not as terrible as I make it sound initially, but like, you know, but like, do I have a lot of contacts in music in terms of musicians? No, right? Do I have the latest gear and gizmos and like software to make music with? No, right? You know, it's like, yeah, like, I don't think that I can compete with like the best in terms of like the most talented and like the most respected, right? You know, I don't think I can compete with them in that way, right? Because all I'd be doing is copying what they were doing, right? And that's what most people do, right? That's what most people do, right? So like I realized that I gotta do something that other people are unwilling to do or afraid to do, right? Because what are most people afraid to do? Right? What are most people afraid to do? They're afraid to follow their heart. You know, they're afraid to really dig deeper in terms of what they actually believe in and what they care about, right? Because it might not succeed. If anything, it's probably going to fail. People are going to laugh at you, right? It's weird to do that, right? It's really selfish to do that, right? You know, the market doesn't want that, right? The market only wants new and popular, right? You know, if you're doing anything else, it's a waste of time because it's not what the market wants, right? And you're off doing your weird little thing, right? And yeah, they have a point, right? In that, well, if you want a business, right, or if you want some degree of success, you need other people to respect what you're doing and do business with you, right? So you need to, in some way, cater to what people want, right? But like most people, they just follow what, you know, the most popular thing is, right? They trend hop, right? Memes and shit like that, right? You know, and even if they're not doing it, they think that, right? It's like people's eyes are focused on, you know, what's new, what's popular, right? And like that's their idea of what should exist. Right? You might see this in your own field, right? I see this in music all the time. It's like something becomes popular, right? Recently, like hip hop is skyrocketing, right? There's something called vaporwave or future funk, which I've gone into recently, which is just basically resampling old funk music and disco music and music from like, you know, the 80s and shit like that, right? And just like either speeding up or slowing it down and updating the beat, right? And that shit is fucking like, it's just everywhere, right? And like everyone on SoundCloud makes that shit, right? Either it's like hip hop or like they do some kind of weird hybrid of hip hop, like, you know, like anime hip, like cute hip hop, future bass shit, right? Where it's just like they take like game samples, like game sounds, like the Mario like coin sound, ding ding, and they put that as a percussion in the track, and like it's just full of like shit like that, right? Or it's like vaporwave, right? It's just like people sampling old music and putting a beat on top of it, right, and speeding it up, right? That's what happens, right? Something explodes, right? Because it's new and it's never been done before, and people are like, oh my god, this is the next craze, right? And everyone like jumps on that shit, right? And like the thing is, there's always that's where attention is inevitably, and also like, you know, you can learn a lot from these things, right? However, you want to express, and I don't know about you, but this was true in my case. It's like I was like, well, I could get lost in all of this stuff, right? It's the smart thing to do is to follow the trends and do what's popular, because then like I might have a chance of people following what I'm doing and not be like this unknown like weirdo who has like 100 followers, where like this vaporwave guy has like, you know, 1 million, right? Yeah, it's a smart thing to do, but that's not your priority. At least that's not my priority, right? You know. Don't get me wrong. It's like this is the weird syntax of it, right? It's like I'm not saying to you or to myself that you shouldn't see what is popular and do what is like the smart thing to do, which is to follow the trends and to learn from like the newest, the best, right? Because you can learn a heap from that, right? And you'll also get influence from that, right? Because you'll be catering to something that is like, it has a lot of attention on it. However, your unique selling point is another way of putting it, is you want to infuse like something deeper in there, right? So like, I don't know if I'll do this actually. I was going to put some images on the screen, right? Which I might do. So like if you see some images on screen, I've done that. If you haven't, then I haven't. But like recently I've been like trying to dig deeper into like art, right? Art and imagery, right? To complement my taste in music, or like the I don't even want to say genre, right? It's like the types of feelings in music that I want to express. I'm trying to find that in art too, right? So I've been looking on Pinterest and like other places like that, maybe DeviantArt, right? To find imagery that feeds into my deeper vision, right? And I'm really into mystical stuff, right? As I'm sure you are, right? It's like the, weirdly enough, it's like the quintessential kind of like, you know, like sensitive, spiritual kind of an artist's taste. It's like that, you know, it's like art that's like that's mystical, right? I love that stuff. You know, I love like ancient like Egyptian and Aztec and like stuff like that, right? And I also like kind of like this like I don't know what you would call it, but like like Mediterranean, but like rustic Mediterranean type of scenery with like vine lattices and like vines growing everywhere, and like bright colored buildings, like walls, and then like people with pots on their heads and like little skirt things, right? like there's something that's really romantic about, not even romantic, but like there's something magical about that, and I love that stuff. I love like Japanese inspired stuff, because a lot of Japanese art, like in my opinion, is just like unprecedented in terms of like just like the feeling behind it. Like the Japanese are really great at like infusing like kind of this poignant, making stuff poignant, right? You know, whatever the Japanese do, like if they care about it, they infuse it with like their soul, and they make it so like beautiful, right? But yeah, I love that stuff, right? And like it's like I'm like, yes, I like spirituality, I like music, and I suppose art, and I like games, and I like you know, sensuality and pretty stuff and cute stuff. But it's like, okay, But like, what about that do you actually like, right? And I started, exploring, right? Okay, what kind of imagery? Like Aztec stuff or Egyptian stuff, or like mystical stuff, like fairy in the forest type stuff. I love that stuff, man. It's just anything that's mystical and like and enchanting. I love that stuff, right? And like, I've been looking on Pinterest for that kind of stuff, right? And that's the kind of vibe that I want to give out in all that I do, right? I don't know about this vlog channel, because in this vlog channel, honestly, I just kind of riff, right? But like, who knows? Maybe I'll decide to do something else with this vlog channel. But like, the thing I want to say to you, right? Sorry, it's been a long and divergent entry. It's just like the way I think, right? It's just, sometimes it's difficult for me to stay on track, particularly when it's hot, right? But do what other people are unwilling to do, right? Because most people are unwilling to optimize and prioritize for heart-centeredness, right? And that's what you want, but sometimes you're afraid because, hey, you're outnumbered, right? And you live in a society that's full of like the thought of like, you need to do what's smart, and you need to do what's most likely to succeed, and you need to do what's original and unlikely to have competition or something like that, right? You need a unique selling point, and like, funnily enough, you do need a unique selling point, but your unique selling point is your ability to own what you love, own the kinds of feelings that you want to infuse into your art or your business or whatever it might be, and to lead with that, right? And yeah, it might be different. It might not be as technically like spellbinding as like, the best people in the industry, right? I for sure cannot make music like, I can't make music like the best artists, because like I'm just not talented enough, right? I'm not skillful enough. But like, I can make stuff that I think is like a crystallization of like what my tastes are in music primarily, but like, as such, the feelings that I want to give to people in the music that I make, right? Because that's the reason why I love the music I do. That's what my taste is predicated on, is like the feelings that I get from the music I love, right? And so like, you need to lead with that, right? So like, get better, follow the industry leaders, right? But then like, take time to explore what really floats your boat, like what really like kind of moves you and makes you emotional, makes you like, teary-eyed, or like just like, it makes your hair stand, like your follicles. Like, that's when you know that you're onto something, that you really resonate with, is when your like hair follicles start tingling, right? Because you're like, oh, this is so cool, and also so me, right? It's like, you want to follow that feeling, right? Both in terms of like, so when you're not researching the trendsetters and doing the smart thing, right? Go and find stuff that makes you like, that moves you, right? Go deeper and deeper, as deep as you can, and keep going, right? Keep going as deep as you can into what floats you, right? Build your sense of aesthetics, right? It could be art, it could be like the way that you like to the way that you like to make people feel in like the way you talk to them, right? Maybe you're one of these like street pickup guys, these PUAs, or maybe you're like some kind of entertainer, or maybe like you do some kind of like a one-on-one thing, counseling or something like that. Like, like, look for things that are related to what you're trying to do, and that feed into it. So like, I'm a musician, but like, I look at visual art to kind of like to be like a partner, like the other half of my music, right? Because you have visual and you have audio, and it all comes together to paint this like beautiful like image, right, together, right? This three-dimensional image, right, of feeling. It's an emotional image, right? So like, find things that feed into that, right? And notice that it's the feeling you're putting first, right? Because that's why you're on this journey. And it's also your unique selling point. So in a way, it is smart, right? So what I'm really trying to say is, be smart, but optimize and prioritize for your heart and for your love, right? You know, because you won't get this advice or this message from anywhere else. You know, you're getting it from me right now, but you'll scarcely get it from anywhere else. Because anywhere else, it's like, do the smart thing, right? Do like the thing that's most likely to succeed. You know, do the thing that's progressive. You know, blah blah blah, right? But and prioritize for that, right? But like, no one ever tells you to prioritize for your heart, right? To what is really meaningful to you. Maybe Jordan Peterson, right? He has a phrase, right? Dr. Jordan Peterson, he has a phrase, like he says, do what is meaningful, not what is expedient, right? And that is exactly, it's not always expediency, but it's usually like pragmatism or realism, right? Most people are realists, right? Even if they do something that's a bit cool, you know, like art, right? They're going to do the thing that's safe. They're going to do the thing that's kind of in line with like societal norm, right? But like, if you're on this journey like me, right? And again, you could not be like me, right? I'm just saying what have come to realize, you know, recently, right? It is like, I am not someone who is trying to like, I want to be a musician. I want to be like a speaker, you know, that's not really a serious goal of mine, but like, obviously I do these vlogs, right? So like, to some degree, I'm leaving that door open, right? To do like kind of speaking and stuff like that in the future, but like, but I'm not the person who's going to talk about like the you know, the latest happenings, right? I'm not a journalist, right? And some people are, and that's fine, right? Some people talk about latest happenings and they give their opinions on like what's relevant to like, you know, new stuff and new events. It's like, you know, like at the time of recording, the World Cup is on, and like I don't know anything about the World Cup, right? Like I could not give two shits about football, like if I'm honest, you know, but like, hey, I don't mind football, right? And it's like, the World Cup is about the only time that I'm actually willing to watch football. So like, I don't mind, but it's like, I'm not the kind of person who's like, oh, the World Cup's coming on, let's do that shit, right? It's like, maybe, if the opportunity comes up, right? But like, I'd much rather like, do what's meaningful to me and lead from that, right? You see what I'm saying? Right? That's the flip, you know? The flip is like to flip from like being focused on like trying to do what everyone else tells you to do. Not necessarily everyone else, but like you have this feeling that you should do the smart thing, right? You should do the sensible thing. You should do the thing that's most likely gonna allow you to succeed, right? Based on like what other people are doing. But you need to trust your heart. You need to do the thing that other people are unwilling to do. So like, yeah, and I could really, I'm gonna wrap this up, but like I could really like just talk ad nauseum about this, right? But like, yeah, because so many things spring from this, right? It's like, you know, when you look for people, like when you're looking for people, right? Whether it be like people who might be a fan of what you're trying to do or be a potential customer, or you look to mentors and people who could potentially help you on your journey, or peers, and you know, to kind of like form connections where you can kind of work together and like help each other out, right? Yes, you should look to people who are like good, right? You know, and like industry leaders and stuff like that, or people who are like, you know, it's like people who are part of the same boat, generally speaking, right? So like, you know, there are lots of things where it's like, oh, like how to, like there's like things like, you know, places where you can discuss like how to be successful on YouTube or how to be successful on whatever it might be, right? How to be successful at the business you're trying to do. And like, you should approach these general purpose communities sometimes, you know, to look for people who might help you or advice or like exchange value and things like that. But like, how about pinpointing something that you really like and finding people who like that thing, right? That's like a scary thing, because it's like, you almost know to do it, but it's like, do I do it? No. Right? And I'm trying to work it into like my strategy this year is like, you know, so for example, like I want to do music, so like instead of going to like, you know, places where musicians gather and like, you know, it's like like, you know, this forum is dedicated to improving yourself as a musician, right? It's like that's a standard thing. You can Google that shit. It's like forum for musicians trying to improve, right? You know, and there's you can find a few of them, and you can even like screen them based on location or like proximity, like in terms of genre and things like that, right? But I like, let's give an example. Okay, Yugo Kano, right? It's like a really obscure reference, example rather, but like that's kind of what you need to do. Like if Yugo Kano is like one of my, he made one of the, and he's one of many, but like he made like one of my favorite anime OSTs of all time, right? Just like so like poignant and sad, but so like raw and genuine and authentic, and it's just like I love that soundtrack. Incidentally, it's Da Capo, right? The anime Da Capo. He wrote half of, more or less half of the tracks, and like the tracks he wrote were just like, they just make you cry. Right? It's kind of like a rom-com thing, but like it gets really sad in the middle, and it's just like, oh, it's great. It just goes so good. But like, so like, maybe I need to find him and follow him, right? And maybe like see what he's doing, and like maybe like find opportunities where I could communicate with him, or like maybe I could find people who like his work. Like, so for example, I can find Da Capo fans, right? Da Capo was released in 2003, right? It's now 2018, right? So like, it's like, I'm like, so yeah, it's not smart, right? The smart thing to do would be to like do the latest anime, whatever the fuck that is, right? I don't follow anime anymore, but like, you know, find that and like connect with the people who are doing shit for that. And then once that has run its course, you find the next new thing, and like you just go like from like new thing to new thing to new thing, right? That's what most people do, right? And you can do that too, right? But like you can make remixes to your style, right? I mentioned this before in one of my other entries, right? You know, that's another strategy you can do, right? But like you can find a Da Capo like website or a forum, an old one, and just be like, I make music, I love Da Capo, I made this remix, you can check it out, thank you. Right? And it's like, I haven't done that yet, but like that's my plan, right? Is to find the things that I love and just like find places, even though they may be defunct, and just post there and be like, oh, do you like my, like, I like this stuff, I made a remix, right? If you like it, can you like please subscribe to my channel or whatever it might be, right? So that's an example, right? So I hope you're seeing, it's like you have to strategize, right? You know, if you're at all serious about this, or if you're getting serious about this, you need to have a strategy, right? Like I said, you need to have some kind of vehicle that you're making, right? And that you're like feeding into, and eventually you're going to implement that vehicle, right? You know, you make music, or you have an idea for a business, or like you're an entertainer, or like you're a pickup artist, or whatever it might be, right? You know, and trying to become like a boot camp instructor or something like that. But like, you know, you have that, but like as you're building it, yes, follow the trendsetters, right? You know, do the smart thing, right? Look for the newest stuff and check out what people are checking out, right? You know, mainstream stuff. But then like connect to that which is unique to you, which is what you love, right? What is it you're trying to do? You know, what types of things do you love? Just keep going deeper and deeper into that, and own that, right? Because most people aren't willing to do that for whatever reason, right? They're afraid mostly. They're afraid. They think it's weird, right? They think it's impractical. You know, for whatever reason, right? People prioritize what's smart and realistic over what is truly going to be meaningful, right? So like, again, you can't help needing to survive, right? And doing the smart thing from time to time, right? But once all of that is said and done, be courageous, and do exactly what it is that you want to do, right? And yeah, like remix it, make it new. That's what the trendsetter examples are for, right? You know, that's for you to learn all the latest tricks, right, to make your art or your business like relevant and cutting edge, right? But like the thing, the heart, the soul of what it is that you do, that is something that no one else will have, because they were all focused on like, oh yeah, the new stuff, right? But you were there and you were building your vision, right? And you lead with that, and like people are like, oh my god, this is just like nothing that existed before, right? They're just like the amount of heart and soul and care that this person has, the way they make me feel in what they produce, right? What they do for me when I meet up with them is just unlike anyone else, right? And I think I want to be a lifelong patron to this person. And that's my message. I hope it was clear enough. I was hoping for this entry to be punchier, but unfortunately that wasn't the case. But like, I'm sorry about that. I don't make entries as frequently as I used to, so like I guess I'm kind of out of practice, if that's my excuse. But yeah, but thank you for watching this. I hope you got something out of it. Really depends what the kind of person that you are, but like if you're anything like me, then this is what you need to hear, because it's always what I need to hear. It's like, okay, Bo, yeah, you know, learn, keep improving your skills, right? You need to, like, you're not good enough, you need to keep improving, but don't forget what you love, right? Don't let the world and society like override what is great, what is like beautiful about you and to you, for like what's realistic and new and, you know, all of that stuff, popular, right? You know, don't let that happen, right? Take advantage of that shit, right? But like never forget what makes what you're trying to do beautiful, right? And I'll leave you with that. And yeah, if you have any questions or anything like that, then feel free to leave them in the comment section below. If you want to tell me that like I helped you out, feel free, or if that I was just annoying, you know, leave that too. And as a bit of a treat, I'll leave a preview, you know, of the latest thing that I did musically. It's a jazzy, like, it's part of my Jazz Rouge thing, right? I have this thing that I'm doing called Jazz Rouge, right, that I made up, and basically it's just like really sensual jazz, basically, like sensual acid jazz fusion type stuff. It's based on the game character Rouge the Bat, hence Jazz Rouge. But like I made something recently. At the time of recording, the one I made, okay, I don't want to be too like, you know, too like whiny about it, but like, I don't know, I think it's pretty good, right? I made it and like finally released it, right? You know, it's hard, like, yeah, finishing shit is hard, right? But you know, I managed to finish it, and yeah, I did say that I was going to make something every week, and I haven't really been doing that, but at least I finished something, right? So like, I'm going to give a preview to that at the end of this video, and if you like it, then feel free to check out the actual track on my Bojinjin Sounds YouTube channel, and also on my SoundCloud, soundcloud.com/Bojinjin, and follow me, right? If you like the kind of stuff that I make, then please follow me and support what I'm doing, and I'll continue to make, you know, stuff like that for you. So cool. Thank you for watching this, guys, as usual. Keep going, and yeah, do what you need to do. And at this point, I don't need to remind you. You already know, right? Do what you love. And on that note, peace out, guys. See you soon. Or next week, rather. Peace out, guys. Have a good one. Whoosh.
untapped.